There's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, probably more than I'd like to admit. I think it's one of those things that a lot of us are feeling and maybe don't really actually want to acknowledge out loud. Because what happens when you have a life that you're genuinely grateful for? You really love it, and you still want more. You have a good career, people you love, a life you've worked really freaking hard to build. Maybe you have the title that you wanted, that you've worked for, the salary that you've been striving for, the house, the family, the stability, the reputation, the seat at the damn table, whatever that thing was for you. And then somewhere along the way, this little voice shows up. What else? Or maybe what's next? And almost immediately, another voice answers it. Seriously? Look at everything you have. Shouldn't this be enough? Welcome back to Worth the Work. I'm Courtni Hughes-Bochenek, and I've been thinking about this quite a lot lately because I am objectively incredibly grateful for the life that I have. I have a career that I'm really proud of. I've spent more than 16 years building it. I started as an assistant and over the years kept learning and growing and taking on more responsibility and eventually became an executive. I'm lucky I get to lead a function and I get to do work that really matters to me. Outside of work, I have 3 incredible kids, a husband that I love, friends, experiences, a really full life. And I don't say any of that lightly because I do know how lucky I am. I know there's versions of me from 10 or 15 years ago who would look at my life today and say, holy shit, we freaking did it. And yet I still find myself wanting things. Quite a lot of things, actually. There are things that I want to build and things I want to try, rooms I still want to walk into, and people I really want to meet. Places I want to go, versions of myself I haven't met yet. And for a while, I think there was a part of me that wondered whether wanting those things somehow diminished my gratitude for everything else that I already have. Like ambition and gratitude existed on opposite ends of some unseeable spectrum. If you're grateful enough, you shouldn't need more. And if you want more, maybe you're not really appreciating what you have. But I don't actually believe that anymore. Today's episode is called You Can Be Grateful and Still Want More. Let's get into it. I actually think one of the strangest things we do to ourselves is turn gratitude into some kind of obligation to stay exactly the same. We tell ourselves, you have a good job, you have a good life, things are going really well, so just sit there and don't screw it up. And sometimes that's wisdom, right? Not every restless feeling requires a life overhaul. Not every crappy Tuesday means you need a new career. Not every new idea has to become some major business boom. Sometimes just appreciating what you have really does mean recognizing that you don't need to chase every single next thing. And sometimes you should be grateful becomes a really convincing and massively inconvenient reason not to grow or keep pushing. So maybe we should be giving that more attention. Because yes, gratitude should ground you, but it shouldn't also trap you. Gratitude should help you recognize what's good. It shouldn't require you to stop being curious about what could be next. Maybe the distinction I've been trying to make for myself is this. Wanting more doesn't necessarily mean wanting better. Sometimes it just means wanting something different. That feels like a pretty big distinction, because if I tell myself I want something better, I have to make what I have now somehow worse, right? So my current job has to be bad, or my current life has to be unfulfilling. Something has to be missing. Someone has to have failed me. There has to be a reason. But what if there isn't? What if something can be good and you can still outgrow it? What if something could have been exactly right for you for a season of your life, and then one day it isn't? What if you can deeply appreciate what something gave you without promising to stay there forever? That's true of jobs, it's true of careers, it's true of goals, it's true of identities, and frankly, it's true of life. I think we have a weird relationship with ambition, especially when someone has achieved a certain amount of success. At the beginning, ambition is celebrated. Go get it, work hard, dream big, build that career, take the risk, prove yourself. But eventually there's this invisible line where ambition starts to be interpreted differently. Isn't that enough? What are you still trying to prove? And maybe you're not trying to prove anything. Maybe you're just not done. Personally, that's the idea that sticks with me. Not because I think we should spend our entire lives chasing. I don't. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know that I think quite the opposite. I think we need to live lives that are bigger than just what we do at work, because I think the rest matters. I think relationships matter. I think sitting outside with people you love matters. I think a random Tuesday night spent hanging out with your kids can matter more than whatever impressive thing happened in your career that week. But none of that requires us to stop wanting. That's the part I think we tend to confuse. Contentment and ambition can coexist. You can sit at your own dinner table and think, I love this life, and yet still have dreams that haven't happened yet. Those things aren't contradictions, they're human. And I think this matters at work too, because sometimes we're unintentionally punishing people for growing. Someone says they want a promotion, more responsibility, maybe a different role or a new challenge, and instead of getting curious, leaders sometimes hear dissatisfaction. Why aren't they happy? We just promoted them. They have such a great opportunity here, and we've done so much for them. But wanting growth isn't necessarily a criticism of what you've ever given someone. Sometimes it's actually evidence of what you've helped create, what you cultivated in your environment. You develop someone who now sees more possibility for themselves, and that's not failure, that's development. And sometimes that growth can happen inside your organization, and sometimes it can't. That doesn't make the investment wasted. It means people are people. They evolve, their priorities change. Their definitions of success are going to change, and good leadership has to leave room for that. There's another side of this too. Sometimes the thing we want more of isn't anything professional at all. Maybe you want more time, more adventure, more mornings when you aren't rushing around, more travel or dinners with people you love, more creativity and space to just be. Maybe your version of more is actually less. Less responsibility, less travel, less stress, less money in exchange for more freedom, less obsession with climbing the corporate ladder, or less of your identity being wrapped up in what you do for a living. That's still wanting more, because more doesn't have to mean bigger. It means more aligned with the person you're becoming. And I think that's the question underneath all of this. Who are you becoming? Not what should someone at your age want? Not what should someone with your title do next? Not what would look really impressive on your LinkedIn? Who are you actually becoming, and what does that person want? I don't have a 5-step framework for this, and I don't think everything needs one, but I do think there's a question worth sitting with. If you removed guilt from the equation, what would you let yourself want? Not what would you immediately quit your job to pursue, and not what do you need to announce. Not even really what do you need to have figured out by next week, just what would you let yourself want? Because wanting something doesn't require you to hate what you have. Curiosity isn't betrayal, growth isn't ingratitude, and changing your damn mind about what you want doesn't mean you were wrong about what you wanted before. Maybe that version of you needed exactly what you have now. Maybe they worked super hard to get you here. You don't have to disrespect that version of yourself to become someone new. You can thank them, you can be proud of them, you can look around at the life they helped build and genuinely say, this is really good. And then you can look ahead and say, and I'm still curious. That's where I'm landing with all of this. I don't want to live my life perpetually dissatisfied. I don't want every accomplishment to immediately become the starting line for the next one. I want to notice where I'm at. I want to celebrate it. I want to enjoy my kids at the ages they're at right now, and I want to appreciate the career that I've spent time building. I want to recognize the people and the opportunities and the luck and the work that got me here. I want to be present for my own life, and I still want more. More experiences and conversations, more ideas and risks, more impact, more moments where I'm really surprising myself, even still. More opportunities to find out what I'm capable of. And I've decided those things are allowed to exist together. Maybe yours can too. So if you've been feeling a little restless lately, if there's still something tugging at you, if you caught yourself wondering what's next and then immediately felt guilty for wondering, maybe don't rush to silence it. You don't have to blow up your life. You don't have to make a decision. You don't even have to know what the feeling means yet. Just get curious about it. Because sometimes wanting more isn't evidence that something is wrong with the life that you've built. Sometimes it's just evidence that you're still growing. You can love where you've been. You can love where you are, and you can still wonder where you're going next. You can be grateful and still want more. Both can be true. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear the reframe answer that came up for you. Until next time.